I recently tried to beat Celeste with a twist. Madeline is invisible. But as an additional challenge to that, I also wanted to give myself a time limit. I can typically beat Celeste in about an hour. I figured that being invisible should no more than double that time, and I gave myself a goal of beating the game in under 2 hours. We start, as all Celeste runs do, in the prologue, where I almost immediately die. This is just about the only thing of interest that happens in the prologue. Let's go over some rules and information. First, rules. Madeline is invisible. Beat the game. Next, some information. There's still a couple things that let us know about where we are on the level. First is the dust clouds that appear when landing. And second is the light aura that inherently surrounds all trans women, which would have been a hate crime to remove. These two effects are going to be the only things that make 2 hours even feasible. The prologue, however, is only about 1 death longer than usual. And with about 1 minute down, that leaves us with 1 hour and 59 minutes for the rest of the game.
Hey, me here from the editing booth. It's just my room. I was gonna do the Majora's Mask, like Dawn of the Final Day sound effect with how much time I've got left with each chapter, but I realized that a lot of these segments are really short and you'd be hearing that sound effect far too often. So if you think that would have been a good idea, just pretend that I did it anyway.
Forsaken City introduces dashes, which also give us an indication of our location, as they leave behind a little trail whenever you dash. But, for the most part, similar to a casual playthrough, with a couple of speedrun-esque tricks. Overall, pretty normal. It's a 3-minute chapter, longer than usual, but invisible. That leaves us with 1 hour and 56 minutes left to climb the mountain. Old Sight is similar to the previous chapter, and then it kind of just plays out like a casual playthrough of a somewhat experienced player, which to me was actually quite surprising, as I expected that the battle and chase and the later fight would be the hardest segments in the run, since you have little to no time to think about where you are, as you must keep moving. But no, even the chase segment of this chapter went surprisingly well. The chapter as a whole only took just over 4 minutes. Leaves us with about 1 hour and 50 minutes left to reach the peak. Celeste Resort fucking sucks. Hit the demo dash though, so that's cool. Oh, also this happened. Fuck! No! Uh-oh. I turned myself into a chapter marker. I don't know what button I pressed, but I turned myself into a chapter marker. Oh no, I put down a checkpoint. Okay. That doesn't change anything. Listen, I have some tools installed. I'm invisible, so I thought I turned into a checkpoint. Anyway, chapter 3 took over 20 minutes, so I have just under 1 hour and a half left to make it to the summit. Let's talk wind. Since Madeline is made of paper, as all 2D characters are, she is easily blown around by the wind. Now, this is annoying enough when you can see where you are, but not seeing yourself makes getting blown off the edges very common. Or so I thought. When writing this, I distinctly remember the wind pushing me off of ledges while trying to get my bearings on multiple occasions throughout the chapter. But then I rewatched all the footage, and I mean, yeah, it's slow. That's mostly the whole invisible thing, not really the wind. At least no more than usual for me. Chapter 4 takes about 12 minutes, which lets us move on to the Mirror Temple, with about 1 hour and 15 left to finish the climb. Mirror Temple makes me think that maybe this isn't really that much of a challenge at all. The chapter's very dark, so the aura is very noticeable, and even if it wasn't, a large portion of the chapter is spent in bubbles, which aren't invisible, or carrying Theo, who is also not invisible. It doesn't mean it's fast, though. Still takes almost 12 minutes, meaning we have just over 1 hour left for the last 2 legs of this excursion. Reflection is another chapter I thought would be extremely tough, because navigating with feathers around some of the corners in this chapter is already hard enough without the extra layer of difficulty. This ends up not being an issue, however, as only the tail of the feather is invisible. So let me use this as an opportunity to explain what I did to even make Madeline invisible in the first place. I downloaded a template skin mod and wrote a script to replace every PNG in the mod with a blank one. That's why some stuff isn't properly invisible, and some other stuff that doesn't really need to be invisible, the telephone pole at the end of chapter 2 being the biggest example, is. So the mod that I used as a base for this must have changed the tail for Feather Style Madeline, but not the orb, if that's even possible to change. which I imagine it is. But let me tell you, just because the feathers are mostly visible doesn't mean the chapter is easy. I mean, the start is. Remember earlier when I said I expected that the battle and chase and fight would be the hardest parts of the run, and then I was surprised at how easy the chase was? Well, I got to the fight about 9.5 minutes into the chapter, and finished the chapter in just under 24 minutes. That is longer on the end sequence of this chapter than any other entire chapter, as long as you forget Resort, which I am doing, and I would implore you to do the same. Also means that I only have 41 minutes and a couple of seconds to climb the entirety of Summit. But 41 minutes should be enough for Summit, right? First section, 2 minutes, 39 remain. I climb through Forsaken City, 36 minutes left. I dash through the old site, I've got 34 minutes. I still hate Celestial Resort, I have 25 more minutes. The wind in Golden Ridge is like actually a problem now, and I've only got 18 more minutes. I will never not do this Mirror Temple room with demo dashes. It's just so much more fun to do with demo dashes. 14 minutes. I reach checkpoint 10. I have just over 7 minutes left. Checkpoint 9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. And I make it to the summit. And hey, look at that! Madeline's visible again. But did I make it? Did I clear my completely arbitrary 2-hour time limit that I actually came up with at checkpoint 10 when I was doing the run? No. It's 2 minutes over. 120 seconds from my goal. That means that had I abandoned my morals and completed the Summit Mirror Temple room normally, I probably would have been sub 2 hours. But let me tell you, it would not have been worth it. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. That's right, no core, no farewell. I tend to like staying sane. Anyway, thanks for watching. This is the point where I would normally tell you how much effort this video took and how you should do all that YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe. But instead, I'll be honest with you. This video took a very average amount of effort. But if you liked it, you should still do all that YouTube stuff anyway. And let me know if there's any other challenge runs of any game you would like to see, preferably something that hasn't been done too much, if at all, and is for a game I already own. Though I'm not going to list every game I own, so you kind of have to get lucky with that second condition. I also stream pretty much every day on Twitch, and recently got back into both Street Fighter and Monster Hunter. So if you want to watch me get beat up by either people or monsters, come check that out. That line didn't really feel like a great way to end a video, so I guess I'll run this one back again. As well as any other challenge runs you want to see, let me know about your favorite moths. Last time I asked this, someone introduced me to the beautiful creature that is the rosy maple moth, which has quickly made its way to the 3rd place on my favorites moth list. Atlas moth is still at the top though it would not take much convincing to put the rosy maple above the white witch. Anyway, moths.